Onions are one of the most ordinary foods in the kitchen. They sit in a bowl on the counter. They roll around in the bottom of a grocery bag. They disappear into soups, sauces, and stews. And most of the time, we do not even notice them. But in the Bible, onions are important enough to be named in one of the most honest moments of human frustration. A moment when people were tired. A moment when people were afraid. A moment when people missed home. So here is the question. If onions were worth mentioning in Scripture, what were they really missing? And what does that tell us about ordinary life, both then and now? Today, this episode will make three things clear. First, why onions show up in the Bible, and what that reveals about daily supply and human memory. Second, why onions became a kitchen foundation across cultures, and why the same onion can taste sharp or sweet depending on what you do with it. Third, what we can do at home to waste less and feel steadier, with simple storage habits and even a beginner way to grow onion greens in a pot. And stay with me until the end, because I will share one overlooked kitchen detail that can make onions feel sweeter, less harsh, and far easier to work with. And yes, it can help you cry less too. Let us begin with the scene that puts onions on the biblical record. In the book of Exodus, the people of Israel are traveling through the wilderness. They are living day by day. They are learning what it means to depend on daily provision. And they complain. Not in a polished way, in a very human way. They remember Egypt. They remember food. They talk about fish. They talk about cucumbers. They talk about melons. They talk about leeks. They talk about onions. They talk about garlic. That list is not a spiritual notion. It is a grocery memory. It is the sound of people who miss a normal dinner. And that is exactly why the Bible includes it. Because Scripture is not only about miracles, it is also about real people in real pressure. The people were not only hungry, they were disoriented, they were stressed, they were tired of uncertainty. And in moments like that, what do humans reach for? Not fancy food, not rare spices. They reach for the basics, the foods that make simple meals feel complete, the foods that make life feel like life. Onions fit that role perfectly. Onions are not a luxury. Onions are not a status symbol. Onions are a foundation. They are cheap enough for ordinary families. They are sturdy enough to travel. They store well compared to many fresh foods. And when you cook them, they change everything around them. So when the people remembered onions, they were remembering more than taste. They were remembering stability. They were remembering routine. They were remembering a table that felt predictable. And that is a lesson for us. Because we live in a world where many people feel hurried and unsettled, and the things that calm us are often small, familiar acts. A warm meal, a simple soup, the smell of onions cooking in a pan. It is not just food, it is a signal. It tells your mind that we are okay right now. Now let us step back and ask a simple question. Why do onions show up in so many cuisines across the world? Why does so much cooking begin with onions? Because onions are a kitchen engine. They build flavor. They build aroma. They build the base that makes other ingredients taste better. This is why so many recipes begin with the same instruction. Cook the onions first. And here is the hidden truth most people do not realize. Onions can be sharp, but onions can also be sweet. And the difference is not the onion. The difference is what you do with it. A raw onion has a bite. A chopped onion has a stronger bite. A hot pan can burn onion fast. And when onion burns, it turns bitter. That bitterness is one reason people think they do not like onions. But if you cook onions slowly, they soften. They turn sweet. They become rich. They melt into a sauce. This is one of the best examples of a simple biblical theme. Pressure changes things. Heat changes things. Time changes things. A harsh onion can become a gentle one, but you have to know how to treat it. Now let us talk about another onion experience everyone knows: the tears. People will say, "I cannot cut onions. They destroy me." But here is the good news. Those tears are not a sign that you are weak. They are a reaction. When you cut an onion, it releases a gas that irritates your eyes. And the more you crush the onion, the more it releases. So you cannot control everything. But you can control a few things that make a big difference. First, use a sharp knife. A dull knife crushes the onion. A sharp knife slices cleanly, and clean slicing means fewer irritants. Second, slow down your cutting style. Do not saw, slice, smooth strokes. Third, give the onion a little stability before you cut it. Some people like to chill the onion briefly, not for hours, just long enough to calm the surface. Fourth, keep some air moving. A fan, an open window, even a small breeze. It helps. And here is a small detail many cooks learn over time. Leave the root end for last. That end tends to be stronger. So if you keep it intact as long as possible, you may feel less irritation. Now, none of this is a magic trick, but together it can turn onion cutting from misery into something manageable. And that matters, because if onions feel annoying, people avoid them. And when people avoid onions, they lose one of the easiest ways to make food taste better at home. Now let us bring this story into modern life. Because onions are common, but they are not indestructible. Onions still depend on farms, storage, and transport. Anyone who shops regularly has seen it. Some weeks, onions are cheap and plentiful. Other weeks, they are smaller or bruised or sprouting or suddenly more expensive. Weather affects harvests, transport affects availability, storage conditions affect quality. Even something as simple as onions can feel unstable at times, but the more common modern problem is not a total shortage, it is waste. We buy a bag of onions, we use one, we forget the rest. They sprout, they soften, they rot, and then we throw them away and buy more. That cycle does not feel dramatic, but it adds up. It wastes money, it wastes food, and it makes the kitchen feel less steady. So the best response is not fear, it is skill. And the first skill is storage. Onions want the same basic things as garlic: cool, dry, dark, and air. Onions do not like moisture, they do not like sealed plastic, and they do not like sitting next to heat. So here are a few simple rules. Store whole onions in a cool, dry place with airflow. A pantry, a cabinet away from the stove, a basket, a breathable bag. And here is one big rule many people do not know. Do not store onions next to potatoes. Potatoes release moisture and gases that can speed up onion spoilage. And onions can affect potatoes too, so give them separate spaces. Another simple rule: if an onion is bruised or soft, use it first. Do not wait. Sort your onions when you bring them home. Firm ones can last longer. Soft or damaged ones are your first priority. Now, what about a cut onion? A cut onion is different. Once you cut it, it dries out and absorbs smells easily. So wrap it tightly, put it in a container, store it in the fridge, and use it soon. If you often cook with onions, there is another helpful habit. Prep and freeze. You can chop onions and freeze them in small portions. That way, on the days you are tired, you still have onions ready to go. Yes, frozen onions are not perfect for raw salads, but they are great for soups, stews, and cooked dishes, and they can save you time and reduce waste. Here is another option people love: cooked onion base. Many dishes begin with softened onions, so you can cook a batch slowly until they are soft and sweet, then portion and freeze. Later, you can drop a portion into a pot and your meal is already halfway to tasting great. This is not complicated, it is just planning. Now we move to the second skill I promised: growing onion greens at home. And again, let me keep it simple. We are not trying to grow a huge onion harvest. We are trying to grow onion greens. The quick payoff, the part you can snip, the part that adds fresh flavor to eggs, soups, noodles, and vegetables. And the good news is, you can do this with scraps, with an onion you are already going to use. Here is a simple method. When you cut an onion, save the root end, the bottom part where the roots would grow. Leave a little onion flesh attached. Place that root end in a small pot of soil, not deep, just enough to cover the roots area and keep it stable. Water it lightly, do not soak it. Put it in a bright spot. A windowsill works. A balcony works even better. Within days, you may see green shoots. Within a couple of weeks, you can snip greens. And if you cut the greens and leave the base, it can keep producing. This is a small thing, but it changes your relationship with food. It turns waste into supply, and it gives you a little more control. And that brings us back to the Bible again. In the wilderness story, the people longed for familiar food. They were learning what it means to depend daily, but they were also learning wisdom to gather what they needed, to not waste, and to live with steady habits. When you store onions well, you are practicing stewardship. When you grow onion greens from a leftover root, you are practicing resourcefulness. Both of those are quiet forms of stability. Now, let us return to the detail I promised. The overlooked kitchen detail that makes onions feel sweeter and less harsh. Here it is. Do not rush onions on high heat. If you want sweetness, you need time. Start on medium heat. Add a little fat. Let the onions soften. Then lower the heat. Stir occasionally. Give them time. This slow approach draws out sweetness and reduces harshness. It also helps you avoid burning, because burnt onion makes everything taste bitter. Bonus detail. Salt later, not early, if you want slow sweetness. Salting early pulls out water quickly. That can be helpful sometimes, but it can also push you towards steaming instead of slow browning. So if your goal is sweet, rich onions, be patient. Let them soften first, then season. This is not a rule for every recipe, but it is a powerful tool. Once you learn it, you stop fearing onions, you stop fighting onions, and you start using them with confidence. Now, let us bring everything together. Onions show up in the Bible not because they are holy objects. They show up because they are human objects. They are part of daily life, part of memory, part of what people miss when life becomes unstable. In modern life, onions still play that role. They make a home meal taste like home. They turn basic ingredients into comfort. When you learn to store them well, you waste less. When you learn to cook them patiently, you enjoy them more. And when you learn to grow onion greens from scraps, you gain a small supply you control. Which onions do you use most? Yellow onions, red onions, or green onions? And what is your biggest onion struggle? Is it the tears, the harsh taste, or the waste? Tell me in the comments. If you want, tell me which you would rather see next. A full, no tears onion cutting guide or a step-by-step balcony greens guide. I read every comment and they help shape what we cover next. If you found this fascinating, hit subscribe for more stories like this.